Well, private equity has had dramatic growth. We've been at Bain Capital for 34 years now. We actually started out as an experiment from a consulting firm called Bain & Company. And the bet was that you could take kind of analytic consulting skills, strategic skills, and bring that to private investing. And I say it probably got off to a slow start. It took 18 months just to raise $36 million or so. But it turns out that concept of growing and building great businesses has worked very well for 35 years now. So we're up to about $100 billion in assets. And the big talk in private equity now, as it has been, by the way, each decade we've been in, is there too much money chasing too few deals? Because a lot of people have gotten into it. I would say, and I've answered that question each decade, saying that the industry has expanded. It used to be just the United States. Now it's global. It's into alternate assets and other product lines. So I still think we're only in halfway, third inning or so in the growth of private equity because it's a good business model.
You talked about going global, and I know you have a couple of endeavors there. What's exciting there?
We really built a great global integrated team. We have large offices in Europe, London, and in Tokyo, Hong Kong, Mumbai. And recently, we've completed the acquisition of Toshiba Memory Corporation, which is a $18 billion acquisition of one of the best memory chip makers in the world. And that's been an exciting experience for all of Bain Capital. It was a team of close to 20 people throughout the globe because we had to analyze chips in the US, the technologies, Japan, China, Europe. So we had the whole 9 yards involved, and it was about a 2-year saga, and it turned out to be a win-win situation. Toshiba is keeping 40% of the equity. Our consortium owns the rest, and we're now forming what's going to be a market-leading NAND chip company. It's very exciting.
And you're doing some business in India as well?
Absolutely. We have a large team in India, and we just invested a major position in the Axis Bank. Axis Bank is one of the 3 biggest private banks in India. Lots of potential in India. Banks are growing at 7% per year. The new government's been much more business friendly. And this is an excellent bank, excellent platform that's well positioned for the future.
Are you concerned about the economic cycle going forward in 2019? People talking about a slowdown, recession. How does that concern you?
Absolutely concerned about the economic cycle. I would say we've been concerned about it for the last, probably 2 to 2.5 years. Multiples last year were at all-time high. The stock market has come off maybe net 10% net now. It came down 20, but it's back to 10% off. But if you look throughout each industry, most industries are close to cyclical highs on multiples. And so if you're making investments, you have to be very cognizant about that because you can even improve a company, but if the multiple falls on an exit, you're not going to do well for your investors. So what we're trying to do at Bain Capital is really focus on companies that we can really transform and grow. It has to be a different company at the end of the 5 years. New products, new markets, new technologies. So we have to see some fundamental reason why we can grow. And secondly, we can't count on a higher exit multiple. In fact, many of the deals we're projecting a lower exit multiple on the way out, and those numbers have to work. So I would say we're in a proceed with caution kind of mode at Bain Capital.
And you get to work with a lot of really interesting people. What about Richard Branson? I understand you're doing something with him.
It's been a real pleasure getting to know Richard and working with him over the last 3 years. He had an amazing idea to kind of transform the cruise ship industry. And we've been working with the whole Virgin team and maybe financing one of the, I would say, world's largest venture capital startups to create a cruise company from scratch. And right now, as we speak, there are rivets being put in a $800 million boat that's being built in Genoa that'll house 2,400 passengers, 1,200 crew. And we've signed a deal with Virgin Voyages to ship out of Miami. And hopefully that first ship will be in the water in about a year from now, and we'll create one of the leading cruise companies in the world.
Last quick question, Steve. You're also the owner of the Boston Celtics, as if you don't have enough to do. How's the team looking this year? Are you going to get over the hump?
As a co-owner, I'm a co-owner and a huge fan. We have a great management team. My other co-owner, Wick Grossbeck, has done a great job running the club. Danny Ainge and Brad Stevens, probably the best in the business. And I think we've seen a lot of green shoots. We had a lot of great players. We've had a lot of injuries, but our record is good, and we're a top 4 contending team. It's a really exciting year in the NBA. Actually, there are actually legitimately 5 or 6 teams that could win the championship. That hasn't been the case in the past. LeBron moved to the West, which changed the whole dynamics in the East. So every game is close, and there's never been more excitement in the NBA. So we hope to be there. We hope to be there, at the very late stages and contend.